I wanted to do something that was a little bit more up close and personal with you, so we could have like a community together. Like I've got my my Earl Grey tea here. This is I just love my Earl Grey tea. And what I want you to do is join me and let's talk about our aging journey, because I want to give you inspiration. I want to tell you about things I've learned along the way, and just to help to make the journey a little bit easier, right? And I'm so glad that you're here. And of course, down there somewhere is a subscribe button, and I'd love for you to join us. And don't forget to click on the notification bell as well. Today, I just want to talk about the reality of the aging journey. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I just saw an actor that I used to really admire, and he looks so old, and I found out that he's in his 90s, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, do you feel like that? Put it in the comments too, if you're feeling like this, or let me know what your favorite, you know, cup of tea or coffee, or maybe there's something else in your mug there. Just let me know, you know, how you're just relaxing with me. Getting back to this actor, I'm like, oh my gosh, that actor's in his 90s, like, where is the time going? And then I start thinking about myself, and I'm like, if he's that old, like, oh yeah, I'm old too. And I think that's a bit of a trap, you know, where we start to think about people by the age on their birth certificate, right? And oh, that person is labeled as really, really old, and that woman, you know, and what about my friends? Like, I haven't seen them in a while, they're looking really old. And we got to stop that. You know what? We have to stop that along our journey. We have to realize that a lot of us have a third of our lives left. A third. And so we need to be saying, oh, you know, the future is rosy, and I don't care how old you are. You know, I probably have some people here in their 30s that think they're getting old, 40s, 50s, 60s. And, you know, you're just moving on. You're just maybe going into a different season where you look a little different. If you have kids, the kids are getting older. Maybe you even have grandchildren. But it's just a journey, and I think it's very, very important that we just keep on moving along with the seasons and with our journey. And I think that we also need to embrace each day. And as most of you know who do know me, my mom passed away at 52. And so I'm here on purpose with a passion, because every day that I wake up, and I'm a lot older than 52 now, I kind of, you know, I'm like, this day's a gift. I don't want to tear up, but this is a day that my mom never had. And that's why I'm here, to share that with you and to empower you, and to realize not to fear aging, but to certainly embrace it. And what I want to talk about today is the bad thoughts that we have about aging, and then the empowering thoughts that we can have. So I just told you, you know, when you see an actor that's older in his 90s, you're like, oh, you know, I'm getting older. But then you look on the other side and you go, yeah, but I got a third of my life left, so let's go, you know, let's party. And so I want to talk about a few things like that. One of the big things about getting older is loneliness, right? You know, you find that a lot of your friends have drifted away, and for one reason or another, sometimes their kids, they move to a different state or you know, maybe even a different country. And of course, your friends have decided to move out there with them. That's one reason. Or sometimes you just drift apart. You know, that happens as well. But I'm fortunate to have some very close, beautiful souls that are friends of mine. I only have a handful of them, but but I'm very happy for those friends, and those are the ones that you want to keep, right? Those are the ones. One of them I've known since I was 6 years old. She's just a dear, wonderful person, and I want to call her on her birthday. I want to call her at Christmas. I want to see her, during the summer and in the springtime. I want to keep in touch and find out how her family is and that sort of thing. And of course, with my other friends, I want to do that too. But, keep in touch with the ones that you love. The other thing about loneliness is that if you have kids, they're getting older, right? And they're getting older and they're moving on, and you're kind of feeling that detachment. You used to be everything to them, mom, and you were their lifeline. But now they've made that detachment, and maybe they even have kids of their own, or maybe they've moved away, as I said, hundreds of miles away or a whole country away. But what you need to remember is, as they were growing up, you wanted them to be self-sufficient. You wanted them to have a happy, healthy kind of life. And by the way, if any of this is resonating with you, please put it in the comments. I'm going to try to get to every comment that I can, and I want this to be a community. I don't want you to just sort of feel like, okay, I'm going to watch Heather right now. No. Let's and you know what? If you see somebody who's commenting about it and you want to add to it, I know there's a lot of women that have lost their husbands, and if you want to comment and cheer some, like, just sort of support some women in that area that you see in the comments, please do that. And let's keep this a very positive community, a real positive place where we really, really feel like we're all girlfriends, we're all friends here. So the loneliness factor, right? That's one of those things that really kind of creeps into our lives. The other thing that I think really creeps into our lives, it's a reality of aging, is you start to feel invisible. You don't feel, right? You don't feel like people are looking at you the way they did, when you were younger. You're trying to wear nice styles. You're trying to put on a little bit of rouge and a little bit of lipstick, as my grandmother used to say. But you just feel like you're shrinking a little bit. And I gotta tell you something, I've experienced this. I've experienced this in stores where people, like, I'll be at a makeup counter and the girls there, or the women, I guess, are totally ignoring me. One time, this actually just happened to me not too long ago. I was in a very, reputable makeup store. You all know what it is. The woman was standing by me. I said, "Could you help me?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm kind of looking for a foundation that just gives me a really nice, healthy glow." And she went, "Well, they're over there." And then she left. She just walked away and left. This is one of those stores where they basically put the makeup on you. And I was standing there and I was thinking, oh, am I too, like, a lot of us at our age, right, we have disposable income. And I couldn't believe it. And I just thought, well, she just thinks I'm too old. And I even had my makeup on, so it was weird. And then I asked another lady, and you know what I said to this other lady? I said, "You know what? I don't know what just happened. I'm not going to complain to the manager. I know I'm older, but I do not want to feel invisible. And I need for you to help me with something and really show me on my wrist or on my face these different kind of foundations." She apologized. She just helped me out so much, and I found a new foundation. And the thing about mindset, don't let people do that to you. Don't let people put you down. Don't let people ignore you. If you're standing in line waiting for somebody at a counter, don't let them look at all the young women and say, "Can I help you? Can I help you?" and ignore you. Just say, "Excuse me, I think I have been here longer," and stand up for yourself, because it is a thing. It really is a thing. And our mindset as we age, that's the most important thing we have. This is all about our mindset. This is all about thinking that we have a third of our lives left. Hey, I'm not going to be treated that way. Hey, I'm not invisible. I have wisdom. I have history. I have so much to offer this world. and I'm not going to let people do that. That's a really, really good point. The other point is, what about our dreams, right? What about our ambitions? And when we really think about it, a lot of times we think, I'm too old to go after that. Well, you're not too old. You know, what was his name? Colonel Sanders. He used his retirement money, like he was in his 60s, late 60s, I think, and he used his pension to start up Kentucky Fried Chicken. So you're not too old. You just think you're too old. But if you've got a dream, you know, go for it. If you have a passion and you used to, I know a lot of women that do this. You used to be an artist. You used to have art as something that you just loved. Go back to it. If you used to play the piano and you just love classical music and the piano, maybe teach children how to play the piano or get a YouTube channel, you know, and do your art there and do your just for yourself. And you never know, right? It might really turn into something, but you're never too old to follow your dreams. I think that's so important that you do that. And one of the things that I'm going to be talking about here as we move on into other videos, I'm not at the end yet, but as we move on to other videos, is I want to talk about a lot of different things. You know, I want to talk about regrets, how we need to kind of live in the present time, not dwell on the future. I'm going to talk about loneliness. I'm going to talk about dreams. I'm going to talk about having some fun in our lives, right? I talk about a fun list a lot of times. How about self-care is not selfish, right? How about how to worry a lot less than we do, how to be less anxious. Like, there's so many things. I just can't wait to keep on doing these videos with you. And again, I hope let me take a sip of this Earl Grey tea before it gets cold here. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here. I know I talked about quite a few things here that I feel are part of the aging journey. And again, please put in the comments. I really want to know how you feel about some of the things, or even suggest maybe some topics that you'd really like me to talk about, and I'll be here for you. I'll be here every single week, so don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click on that notification bell, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks so much for being here.